Hey, front seaters, Sean Provencher here, and I've got my brother Dylan with the Path Real Estate team.
Hey, guys.
I just wanted to talk about asking questions and going deep with people. One of the things that we've noticed when we train salespeople is that they ask the right question, but they don't qualify the answer. And I think it's really important that as the people who are going to be helping buyers and sellers make good decisions, we take the time to really understand what's important about those decisions. And the other reason is that it gives us a lot of ammunition later when they start to hesitate on their goals to hold them accountable to what they're trying to achieve.
And on top of that, just by having good questions preloaded, it allows you to actually listen to what they're saying and have a deeper understanding of what their goals are.
Yeah.
And not being nervous about what the next question is, just knowing that I've got 5 or 6 questions that I can ask basically at any moment.
And I've got 3 or 4 follow-up questions that you can add to any response to get a deeper understanding of what's going on. So, a lot of us have heard the concept of going 3 deep. And I'd just like to explain this at like a grassroots level so that everyone gets a good understanding of what that actually looks like. So the idea will be that you ask a basic question and then you qualify what about the response is important to the person you're speaking to, and you ask them how it would affect them when they achieve it, and you ask them how it would affect them. I like to go 4 or 5 deep off, and I'll ask them how it'll affect them if they don't achieve it. So why don't we do an example?
Sure. Okay, so I'll be the seller.
Dylan, thank you so much for having me over today.
Yeah, no problem.
I know that we spoke a little bit on the phone, but I just want to take a minute to get a clear understanding of your motivation. Do you have your permission just to kind of dig in a little bit here?
Yeah, sure, man.
Awesome. Dylan, tell me what's causing you to move.
Well, you know what? We thought we were going to have more kids than we did. And now the house is so big, we just have the one kid, and it's sort of, I don't want to say lonely, but it just feels like we're always on one floor each, and that's not what we bought the house for. We want to be together as a family. We just want to we want a nicer, cozier house. Plus, if we free up a bunch of cash from this place, we could probably take a couple nice vacations over the next few years, and it just seems to make sense to me.
Okay, so here you gave me 2 things. I'm going to focus in on just one. So, Dylan, what a beautiful story. It sounds like you just want to be closer to your family.
That's exactly right.
Oh, man. Can you tell me a little bit more of what that would do for you?
Well, you know what the thing is, Sean, is right now we're, like, for example, my son, Hendrik, will be upstairs watching TV in his room. I'll be watching TV in the basement because the TV's huge, and I like watching golf on a huge TV.
Daddy gets the big TV.
Right. And then my wife is on the main floor, doing whatever she does, or also watching TV. And it would be nice if, maybe I was cooking in the kitchen on, sort of hanging out, watching golf on a smaller TV or something, and then, my son was around, maybe playing on the iPad. I feel like us being closer together would cause us just to be together more, and that's really what I thought we bought the house for.
Go figure, right? Here I am again. Okay, so that's beautiful, by the way. So you want to be closer to your family.
Yeah.
What's that going to do for you guys?
I just think it'll give us I think, my son's getting a little older, and you know how it is once they go into the teenage years, that there's a bit of drift, and I just think by, that sounds brutal, but just by limiting the square footage, it'll just sort of force us a little closer and allow me to stay more in his life than I would be in this, 2,500 square foot house. I just want to go down to 1,200 square feet or something like that.
1,200 square feet. Okay.
Ish, maybe 15.
The right house. We got to find you the house that's
but
going to be right for you.
way under $2,000 for sure.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And what about that is the most important to you?
I never really verbalized it.
Take your time. Take your time. I want to understand this.
I didn't really realize it till you asked me this stuff, but I really do think it's maintaining that closeness through his teenage years.
Okay. Yeah, they change a lot. So Dylan, let me flip this around. It sounds like this is important to you. Where would you rate this out of 10? Is this like a 1 out of 10? Is it a 10 out of 10? Where do you feel like you're at?
We have a gun to our head, but I feel pretty seriously about it. 7.5, 8.
Okay. And what are you putting at risk if you don't do this? Like, say that you say, you know what, this isn't as easy as I thought, and I'm going to just stay. Like, what are you putting at risk?
Well, to be honest with you, it's not just the closeness with my son. The house is also a lot to take care of. It's a big lot as well, so the landscaping falls to me, and my wife does a bunch of the cleaning. We have someone who helps too, but I think by compressing all that, another byproduct of it will be that we're all a little bit closer and have more free time around the house because it's just less to maintain. Like on the weekends in particular.
Yeah. I know that sometimes I spend the whole weekend just chasing stuff around, shopping, and I'm like, What the heck?
Yeah, I don't want Sunday at 5 to come around and me still be doing stuff. I'd like to be sort of chilling out with my kid and my wife.
So there's a couple layers to this.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say that maybe, it's even more than a 7.5? Maybe this is something that would really have a major effect on the quality of your life and the relationships in your family.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Okay. Well, do I have your permission, Dylan, throughout this process to make sure that, I take this as seriously as you do?
Yeah, of course.
And part of that to me is going to be accountability. I want to ask your permission. Do I have your permission to hold you accountable to treating this like a 7.5 or an 8 or 8+ out of 10 in how I prioritize it and how I push you to make sure we hit your goals?
Sure.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you opening up with me. The next thing for us to do is make a plan where we're able to move forward together. Does that sound fair?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. So, obviously, we've closed for the appointment. That's not the point of the video. I think I went 5 or 6 deep with you.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot, and you might not always get there. A couple important things, guys. It's okay to have silence. Let people think. Sometimes we get uncomfortable. I left you hanging for like a 10-second brainstorm there.
Yeah, to be honest with you, that was something that we learned early on in the business, and I think a lot of people, it's so natural for us to want to fill silence, and I think that in sales it's so critical that you do not.
Do not talk to fill the silence. Those are your most powerful moments with someone. The only other thing I would say is there's a couple generic questions that work in almost every situation.
Tell me more about that.
Tell me more about that. What's important about that to you? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to your family?
What happens if it doesn't happen?
This is the one that everyone skips. This isn't even part of the training book. We just started doing it, and we're like, how is this not something that everyone asks? Because what does this bring us to? Pleasure and pain.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
pleasure and pain. Pleasure and pain is one of the most powerful sales tactics in the world. Remember, logic makes you think, emotion makes you act. By bringing someone to both sides of the emotional scale and showing them what they're putting at risk and then showing them the reward they
It's not
can
even
have.
showing them, it's having them say it to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, take time, go deep. Remember, there's a couple simple questions that fit all scenarios. You won't believe the power you'll start to build in the relationships you have with people.
I was working on this concept with one of my teammates, Minar, the other day, and she was saying how she asked, tell me more about that, and the person had answered with like a 10, 15 word answer, and then just spilled out like 150 words. And let's face it, that's the goal of every presentation, is for them to talk. There's this awesome acronym, it's called WAIT, Why Am I Talking? And in my opinion, if you can't answer that question with searching for motivation, looking for the hook, or closing, you really should just keep your lips put together, because there's no point in any salesperson talking if it's not for one of those 3 reasons.
The good Lord gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Yep.
That's it, front sceners. Hope this helps, and thanks for joining us.